Hello, everyone. It is Joe. Today I'm talking about consequences, fear of consequences, and what they really are. I was going through my daily routine as I do, and I was just, oh man, I want to get this off the tip of my tongue quickly before I forget. I was just doing something in my daily routine. Oh, it was about having to repeat a step. I had done something and realized that in order to do the next thing, whatever it was, some task in my routine, I was going to have to reopen my bag and reopen my trash bag and then put my trash that I was about to create in this next step, which was flossing. I was going to have to throw away my floss. And I had a little bit of a negative emotion. I think that this mental weeding out process is probably the most valuable thing I've learned from the minimalism of my trip, of my new lifestyle. I can't really call it a trip when I've been doing it almost a year. Not that I've been growing this beard for a year, but it kind of looks like it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was it. I realized that I had skipped a step, that I had put something away that I was going to have to get back out again, and that my little morning routine, which changes from day to day. Some days I feel like doing things, and some days I don't. Some days I'll skip certain steps, so it's not a full on, like, you could plan it out, write it down routine, but it is my typical stuff that I do. Point is, I was feeling bad about this. I was feeling bad about having to repeat a step. Somehow, in my life, I have accepted the perspective from others that repeating a step is a negative thing. Of course, it isn't in reality. If we choose to do something and we need to redo a step that we did previous, well, then we have to redo a step that we did previous. And it's little things. That's what I love about the minimalism of this lifestyle. It's little things like closing up my bag. I have these bags that hook onto my bicycle. And closing up a bag and then having to reopen it. I can close it up and even tuck in the little strap and get everything perfect, and then, oh, I gotta open it up again. And for some reason, I've attached a negative to this, to having to do something more than once. Some of it is smart kid syndrome, trying to prove that I have value by always getting things right the first time. Many parents and caretakers and teachers are impressed when a child can do something correctly the first time. They need to cut this the fuck out. I don't curse too much on this show, but they need to cut this the fuck out. You need to praise children for effort, for genuine effort, to do the things they want to do. Not effort to please you, and certainly not when they get something done correctly the first time, which may make your life easier as a caretaker if they get whatever it is right and you can move on with your plan. Don't praise them for that. That is self serving and can really, really screw up kids. Most of the smart kids or smart adults I know were smart kids and have smart kid syndrome. So please spread the word on this. Only praise people of any age for trying hard on things that they want to do, for moving in a genuine way towards their heart. That's what we need to praise people for. The rest of it, cut it out. Um, we can hurt people with praise just as we can hurt people with criticism. That being said, I reckon I also picked up this idea that I have to do things right the first time, or I have to do things in a perfect plan. I have to know ahead of time the order of things that I'm going to do, and if I do something out of order, if I have to do something twice, that there's something wrong. I was probably criticized for that too. I'm not able to think of an example right now in my childhood of that, but I'm sure that I was. Because why else would I feel this way? Seeking praise, seeking, physical manifestations of love. Praise is one of those physical symbols of love. It may not actually be love. Like I said, there's a loving way to do it. But also criticism, being told that we're not worthy or we're not good. And we fear that. We fear that if the other people don't love us, don't approve of us, that we will be left behind. We're pack animals. And we live in great fear of exactly what I'm doing with my life, living on my own without other people out in the woods. If I were a, tribal person or a cave person, as they say, yeah, I would have a hard time living on my own. Might be able to pull it off, but it would be very difficult. Of course, nowadays I can live on my own and then still go into town for, social connections and all the rest. I don't have to survive within a family unit. I don't have to, live with the same 20 people my whole life or whatever, in a few tents or something. So, yeah, we live in a different world than we were, than our minds evolved to be in. And so we make a much bigger deal about little things that might lower our esteem in the eyes of other people. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because individuals or families that were low on the totem pole in a tribe maybe were left behind, or maybe were prevented from having the best access to food and water. I don't know why, but it is very, very strong in us. And so I noticed this huge survival, oh my God, something bad has happened and I better not do it again, and there's something wrong with me, or I'm bad and I've got to redeem myself with other people or something like that. All those attitudes, they don't make sense at all. They don't need to exist in my current life. But they're a part of our emotional wiring, and when we are young, people will push those buttons to get what they want. Teachers, caretakers, parents, like I said, other children even, will push our emotional buttons to get what they want. They will make us feel that we're in a danger of being excluded and eaten by wolves if we look different than them or act different than them, or if we betray any kind of weakness, even something simple as having to do something twice. So we end up attaching this fear of death to tiny little things in our lives. And that is why I love the minimalism of this experience. I have a very simple, logistical life. I have a small number of possessions, not as small as some. I still have, a good amount of things, but only what'll fit on my bike. I don't have anything in storage anywhere. I just have that stuff. And it's freeing, not in the sense that, you're free from stuff, that it weighs you down or something like that people say, but that it's freeing because I only have so many interactions, so many possible interactions with things and stuff. Like, yeah, everything that I've got, every one of these things could break and I'd have to find a way to replace it. Or every one of the objects I own, can be used with other objects in different ways. But, those interactions are in the thousands, not in the millions or billions. People who have a lot of things in their life, they see that all of these things that belong to them, that they have made a part of themselves, that they consider to be a part of their own identity. They see these things sitting around the house or whatever, and they make a big, they just have a lot of, I was going to say they make a big deal out of it, but we all do that. The difference is that when you have a whole lot of things, it's more complex. There's more possibilities. There's so much stuff. So many things to make a decision about. Should I keep it or should I let it go? Should I put it over here or should I put it over there? That is it. What do you do with all the stuff? And how much do you want? How much do you need? As a person who's cut down on a lot of things, I have a few things that I think I might add to my pile. For example, a music instrument, and also some small amplifier stuff so that other people can hear me when I sing and play. I've got a few other things I'm interested in adding to the pile. A motor, on the bike to carry it all, so that I can have more stuff. It's pretty crazy. So, I'm human. I want more stuff. I want different stuff. We're all in that boat. We want things because they give us opportunities. They give us the opportunity to use things in different ways, or like I said, to put it over here, or put it over there. All that stuff is fun. And having a minimal life doesn't make me any different than other people. It simply means that I can notice when I have these things in my mind. You can do this too, even if you have lots of stuff. I just have adopted the luxury of minimalism so I can really enjoy travel, but also a mental clarity because I really am prioritizing this weeding out process. So notice in yourself when you say, I see this, I see that in my mind. You'll notice it because it feels bad, right? We would all like to feel good, but most of us would just like to stop feeling bad. That's typically where we're headed. If we have access to a really good feeling, we'll chase that, whether that's a relationship or maybe some food that we like or some kind of activity, even a drug. People will chase things that feel really, really good. Maybe to make up for bad things, or maybe just because they feel good. But what we really want to do is not feel bad about things. And there's big ones, there's big bads that are attached to strong emotions from our childhood. I think it's the same mechanism as what I mentioned, just that we've attached the fear of death to something. But I don't know how to work on those. I wouldn't tell you how to work on those. I think those are the work of a lifetime. Though it doesn't have to take a lifetime. I think we can set those things aside right in the moment. What I'm working on right now are the small ones. I can weed out a small thing. I can feel really good when I notice myself doing something twice. Those bicycle bags, when I open them up 2, 3, 4, who knows how many times, I will notice a success. And the success is feeling good no matter how many times I have to open it. The success is rewiring myself. I can replace this idea of success being doing something the first time with an emotional success, saying, I am awesome, no matter how many times I need to do something. Even when I'm confronted with some old fear, I can feel good. That can be a new success for the ego. Yes, ultimately, we want to release the ego, but reframing things can really heal a lot. Yes, feeling that I need to have any success to feel good is ultimately not necessary. But as far as like daily stopgap measures go, simply saying, I have conquered this little bit of myself. When I open a bag, today, I know I'll do it. I know I will open a bag and shut it. I have to open it and shut it a couple more times before I get on my way while I'm packing and unpacking or whatever. When I notice that again, and I've been noticing it for the last few days, actually for the last few months, but it's kind of just become noticeable. It's come up to the surface now. And when it happens, great. I'm going to say, there it is. There's that thing in my mind. I don't need it. I accept it when it happens. I don't judge it when it happens. I don't feel bad for feeling bad. That's just a way to trigger even worse things that lurk in our subconscious. Let's leave them alone and deal with the small ones, and then we'll get more experience and deal with the medium ones and get to the big ones when we can. But, yeah, just noticing, there it is. There it is. There's that thing I've pointed out. And that's why I value talking with you on this video, because for me to point out things to other people makes them more real, because we're social creatures. If we say something to another person, it's public, it's made real. If we commit to something, it's made public, we have to do it or people aren't going to like us. Oh no, survival, fear of death. But that's the idea, talking to you about the real things in my life, even if they're little small things, but I can weed them out and feel just a little better. Like if you have a messy room and you clean off one section, or if you have a messy house and you clean up one flower bed, or whatever it is, you know, um, if you have an old car and you fix, one ding or one bump or something, you feel a little better. You look at it and say, okay, yeah, I've got other dings and bumps to deal with, and when I look at them, I feel a little leery, negative somehow of them. But I can fix things and I can make them better. So pick small things in your life, whatever you're triggered to think of by me talking here. Whatever my talking about my bicycle bags has triggered in you is right. Whether it's a small thing or a big thing, if it's a huge thing, maybe focusing on it will just make it worse, because all you're doing is raising your awareness of it so you get hurt by it more. If it's really big, get help from someone else who knows how to deal with big things, or put it off till later, depending on the severity of it. If you really need to deal with something huge, get a counselor of some type or another. I'm not going to tell you what kind to get. But as far as the little stuff goes, yeah, notice it. Notice the action that triggers your negative emotion. Notice your negative emotion and say, oh yeah, I was, somehow bought into this belief, long ago, and now I feel like this very neutral experience, very normal experience is negative somehow. So whatever it is in you that gets triggered by me talking about this, whatever you notice in your life, that little negative, and pick something that's part of your habits. Maybe it's your commute, your morning ritual, your work schedule, something that happens on a regular basis. Doesn't have to be part of a strict habit, but something that comes up often enough. And you can just say, oh, yeah, all right. Sometimes I'll put a negative on this that I don't need to. And just be aware of it and laugh at it and be happy that you noticed it. Consider that a success of noticing it. And then, if you could reframe it and make yourself smile about it and try to laugh at it, eventually you will smile at it and you will laugh at it. And then you'll just say, yeah, that's something, in my trophy chest of things that I picked up, attitudes and beliefs that I picked up, that I have changed, that I have decided to let go of. And you can have that trophy in your trophy chest of your ego of, yeah, I've figured out how to let go of that or this. And work with the small things that don't matter, because it's easier to convince yourself that they don't matter. You'll need to use your conscious mind to say, yes, if I need to open a bag again after I've already closed it, that's not a big deal. It doesn't take any time or effort. It's compared to the time and effort of packing up to go somewhere. It's just like a tiny fraction, right? So, whatever it is, you can logically convince yourself. You can help yourself see that it's not a big deal. You can retrain, reteach your mind. That's what you're doing. Just train your mind to say, oh yeah, that's a natural part of my humanity to need to do some things a couple times before I get them right. I may make the same mistakes day after day, who knows. Accepting yourself as perfectly imperfect and letting go of those very, very little things that are connected through a tiny thread to like your basic fear of death somewhere deep down. But you can snip that one little cord and just say, no, doesn't matter. Whatever benefit I would gain from, getting wherever I'm going 15 seconds sooner or something because I plotted out a perfect course through my morning and didn't have to open this bag twice. Oh my gosh, I got there 15 seconds earlier. Does it change your life at all? No. Does it change how things are going to happen? No. Does it give you some boost of energy? No. These are small things. These aren't big things like a depression that keeps you in bed for 3 days. Yeah, that might, change your life. It might change your work situation. It might change your health, a lot of things. But little stuff? No, they're not important at all. Not that I'm saying you should judge yourself if you fall into a big depression. Those are natural and they happen sometimes too. And we can learn to work with those. But especially these tiny ones, they're pretty weak and vulnerable to just putting our conscious attention on them and saying that accepting myself as I am, letting myself bumble through my morning ritual and my morning habits and do things out of order and have to do things differently and figure stuff out and make some mistakes and just go with it. As I do that, I'm gaining more energy by not stressing at all in the morning through all those habits. The amount of stress that I save, that energy is really valuable because stress can burn energy really fast. And I have a certain amount of energy for the day, for willpower, for moving ahead towards the things I want to do in my day, and especially being just radiating a better energy to people. So that is super important. Stressing about something little like that is really, really not a good idea. What's going to give you a more productive day? Feeling good the whole day? Interacting better with everybody? Having more energy and positivity and just going towards all the stuff you want to go towards? Or is it saving 15 seconds by stressing yourself the fuck out? I didn't think so. It is definitely the first one. Feeling good all the time. We deserve to feel good all the time, and we can, and it doesn't take really any effort. It just takes awareness. If you're trying to do it, it won't work. The real thing is that we're naturally in a state of goodness. It's like noticing the solution to a puzzle or figuring out how to untie a knot or something. When we notice, oh, that's what's happening, and it's less productive, that to stress about this than it is just to accept it. So accept these things about yourself, whatever they are, whatever's come up in my talk here. For you, whatever you've thought of, whatever comes into your mind, that's what you need to work on. Pick something small. Like I said, if you have some big stuff you want to deal with, talk to friends, counselors, whoever, get help. But with little stuff, when you notice it, that's daily work. Don't try to lift a mountain, but, do these little things. The mountain will still be there, but maybe you're clearing a path up through the foothills. Maybe you're, taming the wilds of your mind, being aware of things that you don't need to worry about, and really, really going into them fully. Don't just tell yourself you're over something when you're not. Don't tell yourself you accept something and expect it to go away. It will go away in its time. It is as big as it is. It is connected, like I said, to some deep stuff. So let it go whenever it needs to go. Don't say, oh, well, I've gotten rid of that today, that stress today, and I'm going to get rid of a different one tomorrow, and blah, 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 blah. Maybe, but only if that's your right pace. Let go of something, and then when you see it pop up again, just say, oh, there it is. I accept you. I'm not stressing about you. And then let it go and come. Maybe it'll pop up a lot, maybe it won't, and then it'll come back in a few weeks or months or who knows. Accept these things. The trick is the practice of just accepting yourself as good and normal and natural person, just the way you are. And I know that sounds cheesy because it's something that we try to teach children with lip service. We don't demonstrate it to them. We don't necessarily lead them through the experience, but we do certainly tell children that they're good just the way they are, and then expect them to believe it. The real thing is, for those of you who work with young people, lead them through the experience of living, of making mistakes and feeling good about them, feeling good that they tried and made a mistake. I once heard about a father who would ask his daughter at dinner time what mistakes she had made during the day. And if she couldn't come up with a mistake, that was like not good enough. Like he really wanted her to identify a mistake, to say, what did I do today that I'd like to do better tomorrow? What did I do today that, didn't work out? And if you can't come up with one, did you really try hard enough? Or did you avoid situations in which you might have made a mistake? So that's the real thing, is to have courage to put yourself in situations where you make mistakes. And given that you're human, you're going to make some anyway. Even with a very minimal lifestyle like me, I'm constantly noticing things I could do better or things that I'd like to do better, even in my very small, basic habits. So they're never going to go away. You'll notice the natural ones, and when you don't feel bad about them, when you accept them as a good, natural, positive part of your life, part of your growth process, then you may have courage to start putting more energy into those bigger things, you know, putting more energy into whatever it is that you desire, that you want to move ahead with in your life. So I feel like I've gone around the tree on this one a few times and hit it from a bunch of different angles. If you want to talk about it more or share some of the things you're weeding out of your life, you can share here on YouTube. The Facebook group offers us a little bit more literal space for typing longer messages, as well as other, interaction possibilities. So talk on the Facebook group as well. It's also a little more private. It's still a public group, but there's only so many people who look at it. So you may choose the Facebook group as a safer place to talk. Of course, if you just want to chat with me individually, you can do that as well. Through Facebook messages or email, we can have private, confidential conversations about whatever you want. So check out joeneely.net/community for all the ways you can get in touch with me and each other. I love you very much. I'm pretty sure you know how to spell my name by now. I don't know if I need to spell that out on every show, but you can see the spelling of my name on the YouTube video channel here. I think I'm going to stop saying that at the end of every show. I'm going to expect that people know how to read. So, anyway, as you can see, I'm constantly changing and updating my show habits and laughing and feeling happy about the growth process whenever I notice myself doing silly things that I can let go of. I do not judge myself for them. I just notice them and smile and move on. That's what it's all about. I love you all very much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.